Goodbye, nobody, and scratch that and reverse it. Hello, everybody, it is I, Mr. Jonny Wonka, and welcome back to a video, I guess. I'm gonna be straight real with you all. This is all being recorded in one take. The idea just popped into my head, and I just wanted to make it. And what is that, you may say? Well, you read the title, you clicked on the video. It's literally the thumbnail. Today I want to be talking about the Tubbyland Archives Act 2. And basically just predicting what the whole story of Act 2 is going to be. For those who don't know, the Tubbyland Archives series is a remake for 4G. Yeah, a remake 4G of the Five Nights at Tubbyland series created by Clicky. The series is being run by Clicky, Avocado Dreams, and Pixie55. Tubbyland Archive series is basically just a remake with a fresh new coat of paint, really hard gameplay, and a updated, modernized, and basically more better story that's actually told to you and shown instead of looking on the wiki and finding out facts afterward. No dissing, sorry about that. And today I just want to talk about the story and just predict what's going to be happening for Act 2. So I guess sit down, grab some snacks, grab some popcorn, and I'm going to be trying my best to look at what we've been given and just make a estimate guess, I guess. To begin, let's at least recap what happened in the first game. Act 1, to say. Act 1 starts with our main character, Parker Anderson, being hired for Tubbyland Entertainment. We also get introduced to our main antagonist, who's been doing the monologue, telling Parker that he's hired. For 5 nights, Parker watches over the establishment and has to deal with surviving against its 4 main threats, technically 5. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe, and Nunu in the closet. Along these 5 nights, he gets a phone call from employee number 3, who is I'm just gonna be calling the green guy as the green guy, or 03. 03 is easier. Over the 5 nights, 03 basically just helps the main character understand his mechanics, what he needs to do, how to survive, and for him wise, he starts looking into the establishment. For one of the cool things about this story is that not only him, but other employees at the establishment all find it strange about the animatronics moving and how alive they are. Which is something I really love that they acknowledge. Due to this, 03 decides to just look around, look at some of the files to kind of get a good grasp of what's actually going on here. The following night, 03 then gets interrupted during his call to us from the CEO, who is very mad that 03 was snooping around for files. In the end, the CEO tricks 03 into coming back for the next night, where he then gets ambushed by the animatronics, hiding in the closet until getting injured by Nunu, and then the animatronics force him to get killed. We even get to see a bit of this within the minigame, and closing the game or staying on the screen for a long time. The interesting thing about this is that our main character, Parker Anderson, because he listened to the phone call and heard this man getting murdered, he actually decides to put his foot down, come back the next night, and actually try to look around for some of the files he heard 03 mention. So that's what he does the next night. And during the minigame segment, while Parker is going around the facility collecting files, you can also head downstairs to the previously mentioned basement where 03 went to go look and found something disgusting. We can find a saw and unlock the secret night of this game. But after that, Parker escapes and most likely resigns from the job. Now, for a secret night taking place shortly after, presumably, Parker Parker's sixth night, and it's reinforced here, which was previously mentioned a bit earlier in the night, that Nunu, the thing that killed 03, is a creation of the CEO. During this, we then see text from this blue man explaining that he knows what the CEO has done, he knows the CEO's dirty secrets, and he cannot allow the CEO to get away with this, like a previous event, most likely. And with it, this blue man sends PTLD to go and kill the CEO. So during this, as the CEO is trying to power down the building, he has to face his creation with the blue man's creation, PTLD, and just to make it easier for me, I'm calling the blue guy Ron. With the whole subject, lure his creation with yours. The CEO activates and powers up, charges up actual EMP to disable PTLD and escape. In the end, Ron yells at PTLD saying there's more work to be done and that he can't let the CEO get away with being evil and doing what he's doing. The last thing about the game is that after doing like an all max mode, mainly the cutscene is the most important thing. Like, we see how Parker has been going to a doctor about what happened to him at his previous job, and how most likely he's been having or starting to have nightmares about them. His doctor recommends a therapist, as we get the hint at the next game, Tubbyland Archives Act 2. Which, as we can obviously assume and know, the events slowly turn into something much, much more dangerous. Now, with that being Act 1, what do we know of so far with Act 2? Well, we do actually have a description and a teaser trailer for Act 2. But I would like to bring up those after I bring up this little image. Back in December 16th of 2022, the Tubbyland Archives Twitter actually posted this out of context image. Because it's posted all the way back in 2022, we can argue and say that this image may or may not still be canon if they're doing some of the ideas. But I want to at least look at it and basically point out the more, what I think are the important aspects of it, and explain how these aspects could be important to what I'm about to say of the theorizing of the story. One of the first images I want to pull up is this one. A guy being stressed. I looked up the image and it's supposed to represent guy being stressed. And obvious answer, Parker Anderson. The next also obvious thing is this one right here, most likely being the continuation of the Parker seeing a therapist. Then we have these two images, which I'm gonna save for when we go into the hypothesis theory. I'll save those things. And then I guess again would be this image of a burglar breaking in, which I'm also going to be using for the hypothesis. With all that being said, let's finally get into the part you guys have been waiting for. Now, what can we expect from Act 2? Another thing I'm going to be using for this is Soltron's Tubbyland Return Rebooted, because if I'm right, it was partially helped by Clicky, who helped a bit with the story to show what she wanted the story to be before the original like her version was accidentally and sadly deleted because of computer issues. So, one of the main obvious things is that this story is going to be Parker Anderson's nightmare about the events of Act 1. And as the description says, it's the same night. It's the same every night. Go home, brush your teeth, put on some tunes, and lie down. But upon closing your eyes, you're left in a surreal place. Smell of ash, mold, and rotten food floods your nostrils once again. It's all so familiar, yet at the same time, it isn't. Walls where there weren't walls before, lights in what were supposed to be dark places, and those things. They're here too, but they're not the same. You can feel it, the anger, the violence. Everything that's happened has built up to this. They certainly won't let you go this time. And your only prayer? The hope that time expires before you do. You, Parker Anderson, a college student currently dealing with the aftermath of your previous job experience. And while you got away seemingly scot-free, the horrors you witnessed have stuck within your mind. Despite many therapy sessions, you still can't shake what happened at Tubbyland. You did manage to get your hands on some documents that seem important, and consider taking them to the police. But given what happened to your only friend back there, maybe it's better to let sleeping dogs lie. Unfortunately for you, it's not that simple. You're too deep, and there's no going back. And what helps this is literally the trailer. What helps this is literally the teaser trailer, with its first line. One night in Teletubbyland, a coward hides in fear. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. His end is drawing near. He heard O3 getting killed. He has the documents, and if we're going to be taking in the dream April Fool's joke, then obviously due to his experiences and therapy, he's taking pills, and instead of telling people about it, warning, or trying to at least have O3 rest more in peace, he's too afraid and he sleeps. This is where I'm going to be shifting over to the Soultron story. For in this basically helps solidify the images in the out of context. We know the stress is getting to him. My only wonder is that will Parker be given the chance to face his fears and finally tell like an authority figure, or will he be silenced before he could ever tell? You might be confused what I mean by being silenced, even though, as it stated, he got away scot-free. Well, in the Tubbyland Return rebooted, after the whole reveal that it was all a dream, we then encounter PTLD. And he's mad. Very, very mad. PTLD basically explains that Parker is trapped in his nightmare until his death, and that he'll never be able to tell anyone the truth, and that he won't be able to stop his creator from finding him. After beating a couple extra nights and getting to like the final cutscene, the true ending, we see basically Parker in possibly a hospital bed before PTLD tells him to wake up and kills him. The thing fascinating about this story is that it's the idea that the thing I find fascinating is that PTLD does not want Parker telling anyone about what really happened. This could be because in the story, Ron was the one responsible for the Tubbyland incident, like the custard explosion. It's fascinating because he wants Parker dead so he himself could kill the CEO. And now that we look back at those images, they make more sense now, thinking about them. The hospital the only thing I find fascinating is PTLD in the end does kill Parker. Yet it's shown to be his nightmare model, which we can probably argue that it's like it's either way PTLD kills him, and that nightmare model is because they're using that model in game. But I find it interesting. But due to the whole thing being like about dreams and nightmares, then we can argue that this scene is most likely Parker just having a heart attack and then dying. Most likely the nightmare is getting too much for him that he has to be hospitalized, and then finally he just has a heart attack. But possibly not in Act 2, because these two images, I'm going to bring this one up now, makes it much more fascinating if the idea is that PTLD is out to silence Parker. What if one gameplay method is that we actually have to defend our house so PTLD doesn't break in? So my assumption for Act 2 is that after Parker's experience in the first game, the stress has been getting into him so much that his nightmares have becoming more than a physical problem to him. Him talking to his therapist about it, to the point where he's possibly getting to the point where he's possibly having heart attacks and having to be hospitalized in the end. At the same time, we have PTLD, who is presumably being sent by Ron to kill Parker because he knows what happened at the location. And the sad thing about this is literally the line from the trailer: "A coward hides in fear." Again, Parker has everything he needs to just give to the police, to make the call, to try to end it. Yet, he's scared, and decides to just hide. Maybe in Act 2, we'll be given the choice to either release the files, or just die a coward. But since we know that Act 3 is the revamped new location of the previous building, a part of me tells that whatever happens, Parker might not be able to see it out to the end. And that is my prediction for Tubbyland. And that is my prediction for the story of Tubbyland And that is my prediction for Tubbyland Archives Act 2. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys have your own theories? Let me know. Let me know, because I'm usually wrong on everything. So with that being said, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Good night.